Alright, before we dive into the best characters in Shape of Dreams, let me just say this. Every traveler can shine if you build them right. Seriously, even the ones that seem a bit underwhelming can become total powerhouses with the right memories or scaling essences like predation or wealth. But here's the thing. S and A tier travelers are just naturally strong. They don't need much setup, their base kits are flexible, and they can handle a bunch of different builds without breaking a sweat. B tiers, they can hit hard too, but they're slower and really need a specific setup to survive in the higher difficulties. And C tiers, well, you better hope you get lucky with your drops, otherwise things can get rough. Take Arena from S tier for example. Sure, she really benefits from clemency early on, but even without it, her base kit and passive are so strong that she can carry her own weight. That's the beauty of the top tiers, they give you room to play around and experiment without punishing you too hard if your drops aren't perfect. In this video, we're breaking down every single traveler, their strengths, weaknesses, and what makes them shine so you can figure out who's your perfect fit. Let's jump in and see who really deserves the crown in Shape of Dreams. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Shape of Dreams. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Shell. You ever pick a character and immediately feel like you've just signed up for an extreme sport? Yeah, that's Shell for you. This guy is high damage per second and crazy mobile, but only if you treat him like a fine-tuned Swiss watch. Without the right setup, he's more like a ticking time bomb that mostly explodes on your patience. The trick with Shell is that your attack speed has a hard cap, which makes flashy Blade Storm combos kind of a no-go. Instead, you're going to lean heavily on Laceration and Annihilation stance to squeeze out every drop of damage. And don't forget mobility. Swift / Lash is your bread and butter here. Think of it as the secret sauce that lets you dance around the battlefield while actually surviving stage 3 on the higher difficulties. Now, the build is everything. Pop Essence of Fangs on Swift Slash to keep your movement fluid, and throw Opportunity on a damage per second skill like Flaming Whip. Flaming Whip is awesome because it resets itself, which also resets your dash thanks to Opportunity. Get this combo right, and Shell suddenly goes from oh no to oh wow in terms of both damage and dodging power. Miss a piece of this puzzle though, and you'll feel like you're wading through mud while everyone else zooms past. Honestly, Shell is a character that can shine bright, but only if you're willing to put in the work and embrace his quirks. He's niche, he's picky, and yes, he can be stressful, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? Nailing a perfect run with Shell feels like winning the lottery, except you earned it through skill, patience, and a little bit of luck. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Yuba and Vesper. Ever feel like some characters make you rethink your life choices? Yuba is definitely one of those. He's a nuker, a full-on artillery piece, but he moves about as gracefully as a tank on roller skates. High damage potential? Absolutely. Easy to play? Not a chance. You're going to need patience, precise timing, and a ton of setup to make this guy work. Yuba is all about tranquility. That memory lowers the cooldowns of your other memories, which is fantastic. If you pair it with Undo, Undiatu supports tranquility, letting you hit that sweet cycle of damage over and over. Without this setup, your low mobility will feel like you're trying to sprint through molasses. The real magic comes from stacking S and A tier magic scaling damage per second memories. Layer them with predation, ricochet, momentum, and a whole arsenal of aggressive offensive essences. Then reset everything with tranquility and undo. When done right, Yuba transforms from a clunky artillery piece into a glass cannon that can melt bosses in seconds. But remember, only if you dodge like your life depends on it. Ah yes, the dash. Or should I say the one sad little dash Yuba gets. That single dash can absolutely ruin your stage 3 nightmare run if you're not careful. Seriously, one tiny slip and it's goodbye. So if you're aiming for high difficulties, scout out mobility memories like Burrow to cover your slow-footed weaknesses. Switching gears to Vesper, the approachable B-tier brawler. Think of Vesper as a tankier, melee version of Yuba. He's easier to build, hits hard, and can steamroll stage 1 and stage 2 without breaking a sweat. It's like going for a casual stroll through the park. Enemies crumble, you feel invincible. But stage 3 nightmare? Suddenly that stroll becomes a sprint through a minefield. Vesper's slow speed and enemies teleporting antics can make him feel clunky. You're tanky, yes, but you have to get up close and personal to dish out damage. One misstep and you're looking at a quick respawn. To survive, you will want to maximize both damage and survivability. Equip L's Mercy, try to snag Hysteria with Glacial Core, focus on Ice Shield, and slap Paranoia on it. For offense, Cruel Sun with Frost and Protection, plus L's Sanctuary with Veracity and Aftershock will give you the punch you need while staying alive. It's a careful balancing act, like juggling chainsaws while walking a tightrope. Bottom line, Yuba and Vesper both pack serious power but demand strategy and caution. Yuba is a slow artillery genius with setup requirements that reward patience, while Vesper is a durable brawler that shines early but can crumble if you mismanage mobility in Stage 3. Treat them right and they'll carry you through the nightmare, but treat them wrong and, well, you'll learn the hard way. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Natia and Lacerta. Ever meet him in the character and just think, wow, this one could run the whole show by themselves? That's Nakia. She's basically a one-traveler army capable of soloing support or carrying an entire team while barely breaking a sweat. Her summons tank damage and dish out serious damage per second, making her flexible and insanely safe even on higher difficulties. The real magic with Natia comes from her wolf, Fenrir. Pair him with Heart of the Pack, then Mass Protection and Serpent's Blessing, and suddenly you've got an incredibly tanky ally that takes hits like a champ. Seriously, it's like having a fluffy bodyguard that also deals damage. Don't forget about essences. Guidance and Paranoia on Fenrir boost his healing, making him spammable thanks to Paranoia's effect when he takes damage. And if you're playing in a team, slap Ricochet on him so he can bounce damage around like a tiny, vicious pinball. It's setup heavy, but insanely rewarding. Momentum is your friend on Mass Protection. I'd even recommend stacking 2 copies to make yourself and your wolf almost unkillable, even on Nightmare difficulty. Eventually you might swap one out for something else, but early on, it makes Natia feel practically invincible. Switching to Lacerta, the old reliable DPS machine. This character is all about consistent damage per second with minimal headaches. She's flexible, easy to build, and safe to play, making her a favorite if you want strong performance without jumping through hoops. Start stacking incendiary rounds with Salamander Powder ASAP for high damage per second that naturally synergizes with her skill tree. There's almost no setup required, and the DPS payoff is immediate. Think of her as the dependable friend who always shows up to help without drama. Stage 3 on higher difficulties is where things get tricky. You'll need to kite enemies carefully and use your dashes wisely. They're critical for survival. Frostbite and Arrowstorm round out her kit, and stacking Predation, Accuracy, Ricochet on Arrowstorm, and Freeze Essences on Frostbite really maximizes her damage potential. All in all, Nagia is your invincible, flexible powerhouse, while Lacerta is your reliable, high-sustained damage dealer. Between the two, you're covered for both safety and firepower, making them the dream team for any stage of the game. With these characters in your roster, even Nightmare difficulty feels like less of a nightmare. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Bismuth, Arena, and Mist. You know that feeling when a character just makes the game feel unfairly easy? That's Bismuth for you. She's the safest range damage per second option in the game, and once you get her sustain essences sorted, she basically melts bosses and clears rooms while you sit back and look cool. The key is to equip one Pure Soul with sustain essences and the other with damage. Predation or barrier essences work wonders. Pair that with Arrowstorm to boost your attack speed using Prismatic Vision, and if you have room, maybe throw in Shadow Overdrive. For a closer range approach, a Valiant Heart build works too. The flexibility here is insane. All you really need to focus on is mobility and dodging. Bismuth autocasts damage like a machine gun, so as long as you're nimble, bosses don't stand a chance. And for that 4th slot, pick either a mobility enhancing memory or mass protection for extra defense. Momentum Essence is a lifesaver. Throw it on Pure Soul or mass protection depending on the situation. Swap it onto mass protection during boss immune phases, and suddenly Bismuth is almost untouchable. She shines both solo and in team play, which is why she comfortably sits at S tier. Next up is Arena, the high risk, high reward healer and damage dealer. She takes a bit of practice to master, but once you learn to kite and manage sustain, she's a game changer. Her healing and damage output are ridiculously strong if you prioritize Essence of Clemency. Clemency is your bread and butter for sustain, but don't forget to upgrade her passive. Dismantling Claw is one of the best passives in the game, offering insane healing, stack attack speed, master your kiting, and suddenly Arena is both a lifesaver and a damage machine. Golden Explosion and Dangerous Fury are amazing memories, but sometimes it's worth selling them to upgrade your passive if you find stronger damage alternatives from higher tier memories. Balance is key here. You want both healing and offensive power in harmony. For other slots, healing and defensive tools like Ice Shield or Repulsive Shield are solid choices. Arena thrives when she can survive long enough to output both damage and sustain, so stacking survivability alongside offensive tools is essential. Then there's Mist, the queen of survivability. Stage 3, Nightmare can be brutal, with explosive and teleporting enemies that can ruin a run in seconds. Mist, however, is practically untouchable if you've practiced her mechanics. Her 3 dashes and parry alternative memory make her extremely safe. You almost never get hit if you dodge and parry correctly. With defense handled, you can focus on setting up excellent damage per second with Arrow Storm and Frostbite, which also give added defensive bonuses. On Nightmare difficulty, consider Shadow Walk or Repulsive Shield for even more protection. Mist's combination of mobility, defense, and DPS potential makes her a nightmare for enemies and a dream for players. Bottom line, Bismuth, Arena, and Mist are S tier for a reason. Whether it's raw damage, healing, or survival, these characters let you tackle any stage with confidence, master them, and even the toughest Nightmare runs start to feel manageable. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.